Edgar Wright and Glenn Powell have a new movie out based off a Stephen King novel, The Running Man, also remaking a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from, I believe, the 80s. I saw it in theaters a couple of days ago. Here is my full review. Before I dive in, please make sure to subscribe, like button, hit the bell, and comment down below what are your opinions on 2025's version of The Running Man. If you haven't seen 2025's version of The Running Man, are you excited to see it? What are your opinions on the old one from the 80s? I would love to know all that and more. And with that said, The Running Man was a movie I was very much looking forward to. Loved the trailers. I loved the cast. I'm a big Glenn Powell fan. And Edgar Wright, I've seen a few movies of his. I've only seen Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Baby Driver is just a really great movie. And so I was hoping that he brought that chaotic energy from both of those movies over to this one. And I thought it looked like a lot of fun. With that said, I saw the movie and I thought it was a lot of fun. I had a really good time with Edgar Wright's The Running Man. I think it is a flawed movie for sure, but for the most part, I had a really good time with it. Let's start off with the technical aspects here. The direction from Edgar Wright is getting a lot of hate I've seen on Twitter. People saying it doesn't have the Edgar Wright flair. Now, I haven't seen enough Edgar Wright movies to know if it has the flair or not, but I still thought it had enough chaotic energy. The pacing of the movie is very quickly paced. So we're kind of just dropped flat out in the middle there. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I still thought it had the chaotic energy, the chaoticness of what I've seen in Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And so the direction by Edgar Wright, I don't think was a problem here. I thought it was good. The best thing about this movie, I'd have to say, is the cast. Glenn Powell is incredible, as always. Plays a very angry guy, and which I really enjoyed, seeing him go kind of crazy. I really enjoyed him. I enjoy Glenn Powell and everything he's in, so obviously I was going to enjoy him here. But the big standout for me is Josh Brolin, and what this movie does really well is make you hate the villains. I genuinely wanted to see these guys die. I genuinely wanted to see the people behind The Running Man get killed, because it makes us hate them. And the big thing of that is Josh Brolin, one of my favorite actors, just gives this performance that's like, this guy's just kind of a maniac, which I really enjoyed seeing his performance and was one of the big highlights of the movie for me. The action is pretty good. It's not perfect action, but it's enjoyable enough, entertaining enough. A couple scenes that have all these moving parts, and I'm like, that's actually really cool. The third act fight on an airplane, that's all I'll say about the third act, is a lot of fun. I really, really liked the third act. The movie started to lose me a little bit before that. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But the third act fight on the airplane has all these moving parts and just kind of resolves the movie perfectly, in my opinion. And another thing I got to talk about is I think that the ending of this movie, the final scene of the movie, people are going to watch and think either that was really good or that's kind of unsatisfying. The way I'm left at it, I liked where it was. I thought it did enough to close out the story in a satisfying way without overstaying its welcome. That's all I'll say about it, but I thought it was really good. I thought for a minute, like, the movie would end and, like, a title card on screen would say, The Running Man Part 1, Part 2 coming soon. That didn't happen. The movie did resolve in a satisfying enough way. Some people are going to say it's rushed. Some people are going to say it's unsatisfying. But for me, I thought it worked well enough within the movie. Now let's talk about the pacing. I briefly touched on that when I was talking about Edgar Wright's direction. The pacing of this movie, I loved how it just dropped us flat into this movie. I sat down in that theater and I was thinking, okay, so we're probably going to get like half an hour setup and then we'll get to The Running Man. And then we're kind of just dropped in there where we get to The Running Man about 10, 15 minutes into the movie. Of course, we have to set up the rules of The Running Man and all that, but we get to set up why he's there within the first 10 to 15 minutes. It just kind of drops us right in there. Throughout the entire movie, we just kind of have this breakneck pacing speed. The movie never really has time to slow down, and that's not a negative in this situation. That's actually something I really enjoyed, the fact that the movie never really gave us time to breathe, because I feel like if the movie gave us time to breathe, there would be some things I could think about, and like, okay, yeah, I'm not so sure what I think of this. Instead, when the movie started to lose me, it just very quickly gains me back because of the pacing and how fast the movie goes. So, The Running Man, I thought, was a lot of fun. A fantastic cast, some solid action, good direction by Edgar Wright, and, you know, a really good final act that I thought wrapped up the movie pretty well. Like I said, there are some big negatives here. For starters, I feel like the movie goes in a very predictable way near the end of the film, where obviously you got Glen Powell and he's going to start this revolution against the bad guys. We've seen it 100 times before. It's nothing original. And the way it started diving into that felt very reflective of our real world. It felt like it was delving into politics and kind of had an alternate ego and an alternate idea of what it was trying to represent in the movie. And I felt like, okay, I go to the movies to escape stuff like this, not be reminded of the current state of the world. Like, literally, there's lines in the movie that just flat out go, "This is America, we do things this way." And it felt very, very reflective of our world that we live in right now. And I thought that when it did that, when it dived into the revolution and how the government is bad, it just gets very over the top and very preachy at times, and it really started to lose me, especially as we head into the third act. Fortunately, the third act, especially the fight on the plane, definitely gained me back, but it lost me for about half an hour of the movie. I said it gained me back quickly, and there was still a lot of things to be enjoyed in the movie. A lot of good action set pieces, a lot of fun, but like I said, if the movie slowed down enough for me to think, I would start to think, I don't like the direction that this is going. And like I said, it gained me back, but it did definitely lose me. And there are a lot of things going on in this movie. I'm going to be completely honest. There are quite a few things happening in this film. Especially, again, once we hit that 30-minute chunk that the movie lost me on. Because, like, we're getting a random side character. We're doing this. We have all these moving pieces and not quite of it makes sense. Why didn't a character do this instead of this? And a lot of the problems I'm seeing people discuss on Twitter or Instagram or anything, people that have seen the movie, is that the script isn't necessarily the strongest. It has a lot of contrived elements to it. And I agree with that. The script is definitely not the strongest that it could have been in this movie, especially with it kind of diving into politics and just kind of on the nose. It didn't leave room for interpretation. It just flat out felt like it. And so for about a half an hour chunk of the movie, it completely lost me, not only with the stuff that it was doing, but just trying to add in new elements, and kind of lost me a little bit. For a movie that I was really enjoying, I was genuinely thinking 5 stars up to that point, ended up getting notched down to a 4-star movie because of that chunk. But fortunately, that third act definitely brought me back. I thought that third act was awesome, and it's really going to be hit or miss for a lot of people, but for me, it was a massive swing and a massive hit with bases loaded with that third act. So overall, I really enjoyed Edgar Wright's The Running Man. I left the theater having a really great time with it, and I think you will too. Before I give you my final score, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you don't miss another video. And with that said, Edgar Wright's The Running Man has a fantastic cast with villains we hate, some fun action sequences, and a great third act. But about a 30-minute chunk in the middle of the movie kind of lost me a little bit. But overall, I really enjoyed Edgar Wright's The Running Man. I'm going to have to give it a B+, and this is a movie that you guys should definitely go see in theaters. Alright, so thank you guys for clicking on this video. Stay tuned for an It Welcome to Derry halfway through the season review. I hope I'll get that out. I know I've been saying I'll review It Welcome to Derry for a while now, and I just haven't put out a video. But with that said, subscribe.